What's going on, everybody? This is Wrecked, and welcome into another video. And today, we're talking about the Nintendo GameCube. So this video that I'm doing is one that I've planned for a while, and I'm excited to get to talk to you guys about it because, let's face it, in 2023, the Nintendo GameCube is super popular, and why wouldn't it be? It was a great console, and it was super successful, right? And it sold, over 100 million units. Well, no, that was the Wii. Well, maybe it's the best-selling console of all time. No, that was the PlayStation 2. You know what? I really don't know why people like this thing, but I gotta tell you, I love this purple fucking lunchbox. So in today's video, guys, I'm gonna make it real simple for you. Should you buy and collect for the Nintendo GameCube in 2023? And really, that's gonna depend on you. But I'm hoping this video helps you decide whether or not it's worth it to start buying for this console in today's age. Because let's be honest, the GameCube, pretty expensive, it's pretty pricey, and most of the games that are really any good are pretty expensive. Now, yes, there are a few, in my opinion, that are on the more affordable, cheaper side that are great. But today we're going to go through my collection, and we're going to talk about some must-have games, and by the end of the video, I'm going to let you know what I think you should do when it comes to collecting for the Nintendo GameCube. And special announcement, guys, this is my first collaboration video I've ever done on YouTube. We got some really awesome, amazing people, friends of the channel, that are here to join me in this video later on to let you know some games they think you should have for the Nintendo GameCube. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to show you my collection. I'm going to talk about the games a little bit. I'm going to give you kind of a price point on what they're going for, and you can be the judge for yourself. Now, the Nintendo GameCube came out in 2001 in North America, over a year after the Sony PlayStation 2. And, Nintendo was coming off of the N64 era, where that one's kind of a mixed bag for me because, yes, I'm nostalgic for it because it was one of my favorites when I was a kid, but it's really hard to go back to that console. And there's a multitude of reasons why the Nintendo 64 led to the GameCube not doing as well as it should have. And mind you, there are a lot of reasons why the Nintendo GameCube did poorly on its own. It's not all the Nintendo 64's fault, but it definitely didn't help the situation. Now, I'm going to say, when the Nintendo 64 decided to stick with cartridges instead of going to a CD-based console like everybody else was doing at the time, it really hurt them. They lost the vast majority of their third-party support. Big companies like Square, big IPs like Metal Gear. Like Metal Gear was, originally on the NES. I mean, it was, a Nintendo game. Final Fantasy games like Final Fantasy 2 and 3, Mystic Quest. I mean, these were all on the Super Nintendo. The first Final Fantasy was on the NES. But when things were shifting and technology was changing, these companies wanted to make games on CDs, not cartridges, and Nintendo just didn't listen. I mean, I might be wrong here, but, if Nintendo 64 would have gone with CDs instead of cartridges, I think the gaming industry would look very, very different today. And who knows, maybe this, purple lunchbox would have been more successful. Because what happened is losing all of that third-party support, going into the GameCube, it's like they had to start over, man. It's like they had to get the third-party support back. And yes, there were a lot of great games, but there were other issues with the GameCube. Like, for example, the mini discs. GameCube using mini discs was just, I don't understand their thought process with it. Not only were they harder to develop for on the console, but they held way less storage or way less space on the discs versus a regular sized DVD. I mean, let's be real. I mean, a lot of GameCube games that have any real size to them are on 2 discs. It's kind of inconvenient. Another big reason why the Nintendo GameCube essentially flopped was at the time, and nowadays it might not seem like a big deal, like who cares, right? But the PlayStation and even the original Xbox had DVD players in them. Now, yes, you can say, well, wrecked, there was the Panasonic Cube that came out in Japan. It played DVDs. Guys, that's a one-off in another country across the world. Here in the US and in Europe, they didn't play DVDs, right? And so it really hurt them, because with the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox, you know, DVD players back then were very expensive. To have that feature packed into an all-around home entertainment system was awesome, was mind-blowing. So yes, people want to blame the N64 for the lack of success with the Nintendo GameCube, but in all reality, the GameCube did a lot of things poorly on its own. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the original launch for this console was pushed out, and Sony had over a year head start on them. And it's a shame, because Nintendo is one of my favorite companies in the gaming industry of all time. I mean, the Super Nintendo is my favorite console of all time. I always want Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, I want them to succeed because I enjoy them. But let's be real, the Nintendo GameCube is a lot more popular today than it was over 20 years ago. And that doesn't mean it's a bad console. It was more powerful than the PlayStation 2. It had a lot of amazing video games on the console, and it had a lot of really cool features and a lot of really cool accessories to go along with it. So let's go ahead and take a look at my collection. It's small, but it's mighty. And then our friends are going to come in and tell you what games they think you should get in 2023. So let's take a look at some games. All right, guys, so here we go. We are going to talk about some games. We're going to go through these rather quickly because the video would be a million hours long if I literally showed gameplay footage of every game that I own and talked about it for, you know, a million years. It would just take forever. But these are games that I have in my collection for a reason, because these are bangers, you guys. These are amazing, and they are definitely must-haves on this console, in my opinion. And I have a wide variety of genres. So let's go ahead and go through the games that I got. First up, we've got Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem. So this game right here was published by Nintendo. It is a rated M horror game. This game is a freaking trip, you guys. I mean, it is crazy. It is a fantastic horror game. If you like games like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, it's a must-have. It's a psychological mindfuck, and it is so cool. Like, the game will blue screen on you. It'll play tricks on you to where you think your game is like busted. It's a trip, man. It's really worth having. It is complete in box. See, the mini discs, they're just, I don't know why Nintendo did this, but they did it. And this game is awesome, but it is expensive, and you're going to start to see that trend here on the list. This game is around $90 to $120. I've seen it go for easily. So definitely expensive. So if you have other ways of playing it, I'm not against emulation, you guys, but fantastic game. All right, next up, a fantastic fighting game in the GameCube's library, and that is Soul Calibur 2. Now, what's really cool about Soul Calibur 2 is it had a special playable character on each console. So, for example, Xbox's special character was Spawn, and the PlayStation 2 had the Tekken guy. Don't know his name, don't castrate me in the comments, sorry guys. But Nintendo's special character was Link, and he's the best character in the game. He is awesome to play with. Fantastic fighting game. This game will run you between $20 and $25. Alright guys, now the Nintendo Switch just got a remaster of this game, and hopefully they'll be doing the sequels to this game as well. But, you know, I had to recommend Metroid Prime 1 and 2. So these games are fantastic. It was definitely a step away from the traditional Metroidvania style of games. It went first person. It's, you know, it almost reminds me of Nintendo's version of like Halo, if I'm being completely honest. Fantastic games. If you're into first person sci-fi shooters, it's definitely worth having these games on the consoles. This game right here, the second one, Echoes, is going to run you about $50-$60. and the first game is going to run you between 30 and 40 on average. All right, guys, next up we have WrestleMania. Now, this game right here I picked up at a flea market for like $5 or something like that. It is unfortunately not complete, but it was, you know, dude, anytime I see a GameCube game in the wild, I pick it up if it's the right price, man. You never really see them that much anymore at flea markets and thrift stores. It's very hard to come by, at least here where I live. So definitely wanted to pick up this game just for the sheer fact that it was a GameCube game at a flea market and it was cheap, and it was one I didn't have. But I don't know much about this one, but let me know down in the comments. It's a fairly cheap game if I remember correctly. It's probably like a $10 or $15 game if I'm being honest. But if you like wrestling games, I heard it's really, really good. All right, guys, next up, I picked this one up. It's a super cheap game, and there's a reason behind it, and that is NBA 2K3. And the reason I picked this up is this was one of my favorite basketball games growing up when I was a kid, and it has my favorite basketball player of all time on the cover, Allen Iverson, who played for the Philadelphia 76ers. My favorite athlete in the history of sports. I grew up watching this guy, idolizing him. I absolutely loved him. And he was on the cover of 2K, 2K1, 2K2, 2K3. He was the face of 2K in the early days. Fantastic basketball game. These games, in my opinion, were better than the NBA Live games. And, you know, I just had to pick this up because it was so cheap, and it's got my boy on the cover. So definitely pick this up if you like basketball games, for sure. It's really cheap. All right, next up, I got this one in a retro game treasure mystery box, and I don't necessarily know the value of it, but yeah, it's in the collection, so I figured I'd talk about it, and that's Ty. It's like a 3D platformer, so don't know much about this one. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this game, but it's in the collection, had to share it. Like I said, I subscribe to Retro Game Treasure. They give me a mystery box every month of consoles that I've requested. Not sponsored in any way. It's just, you know, being honest, that's where I got this game from. I have no idea if it's any good or not, so let me know. But yeah, Ty and the Tasmanian Tiger. Sorry, guys. Yeah, but it looks fun. All right, guys, same situation. Got this one in a mystery box as well, but I have played this on other consoles, and that is Dead to Rights. It's kind of like True Crime Streets of LA, Grand Theft Auto style, run and gun shooter. It's fun. Definitely a cheap game. I think it's like a $10 game, but it's definitely a good time, worth picking up because it is cheap. So definitely check this one out if you're into like games like True Crime Streets of LA, Streets of New York, Grand Theft Auto, things like that. Awesome game. All right, next up, we picked up Animal Crossing for the collection. Now, this one is fully complete. It even has the Animal Crossing memory card in the box. So this game right here I picked up because my wife loves Animal Crossing, and if I'm not mistaken, it's the first Animal Crossing released here in the United States. So the N64 version, I believe, was only in Japan. Might have been in Europe, not 100% sure on that. But I got this from a buddy of mine that works at GameStop, gave me a super good deal on it, and I picked it up because I thought it was something fun that my wife and my daughter could play. And I definitely am going to check it out myself as well. I know that this game right here, complete with the memory card and manual, is anywhere between $70 and $100. Just depends on where you get it and if you can get a good deal on it. All right, next up, I got this game from my wife for a special event. I can't remember. She usually only buys me games for like Christmas, my birthday, Father's Day, and anniversaries. So it was one of those. Can't remember though. And that is Star Fox Assault. So this is a more traditional style Star Fox game. It is a lot of fun. It gets a lot of crap. It's not as, people know that it's not as bad as the Wii U Star Fox game with those awful controls. But, when you ask people, hey, what's the definitive version of Star Fox? And everybody's going to say either the original on the Super Nintendo or Star Fox 64. But this game is still fun. There is some ground play where you're running around as Fox and shooting things as well. Definitely awesome game to pick up. This one right here is going to run you about $40 to $50. All right, so the next game I got is the Namco Museum. It comes with a bunch of classic Namco games on it. This game's about $10. Picked this up from my buddy over at GameStop as well. He sold me this copy for dirt cheap and really hooked it up. So I had to have it in the collection just because, it's got a bunch of awesome classic games in it like Pac-Man, Dig Dug, things like that. But you know, if for an $8 to $10 game, you can't really go wrong. It's a lot of fun. It's got multiple games on one disc, so definitely check this one out. All right, guys. So next up, we picked up Billy Hatcher. Now, this game is made by the same team who made Sonic back in the day. And you know what? It's just basically a 3D platformer where you play as this kid. And yeah, you got chicken eggs and all kinds of weirdness to it. And it's kind of bizarre. It's a strange one, but it is a rarer, more valuable title on the GameCube. This one's going to run you about $100 complete. But I got this in a trade with a buddy of mine from an expo. He runs a booth and he also runs a local convention here in town. And I had a game that he was interested in, and he had this that I was interested in, and we made a even swap. So definitely check out Billy Hatcher if you like the more obscure like 3D platforms. It's definitely a weird one, but you know, I mean, it's made by Sega, and if you're a Sega fan, it's definitely one to pick up for your GameCube collection. All right, next up. If I'm not mistaken, this is the best-selling game on the GameCube, and it is one of the most popular fighting games of all time. It is still being played today, and big, huge, massive tournaments are still being done for this game. You already know what I'm going to say, and that is Super Smash Bros. Melee. Now, this game right here is freaking badass. I loved this game. I can't tell you how many countless hours I have played Smash Brothers with my friends. Like, yes, Ultimate is out, and Ultimate on the Switch is amazing, don't get me wrong. The amount of characters in that game is mind-blowing. The levels are amazing, and it looks beautiful, but I still go back and play this. Like, I will literally put this in my GameCube with 3 of my other friends, and we will play this on a CRT TV and just stroll down memory lane, man. It's so good. And I loved the first Smash Brothers for the N64, like literally loved that fucking game. It is amazing. But this game took what that game did and made it a million times better. And just to play this with a GameCube controller, there's no better feeling. It's one of the greatest fighting games of all time, in my opinion, and is a must-have. This game right here is going to run you about $70 to $80 complete. So, you know, yeah, like I said, guys, a lot of these games on the list are mid-tier to kind of pricey. So it is what it is. This game's fantastic. If you're going to collect for the GameCube, you got to have Super Smash Bros. Melee. All right, guys, so next up, this is a kind of a weird one, but I really like it, and it's one of my wife's favorite games of all time, and she recommended it to me, and so she picked it up for me, and I freaking love it, and it's a lot of fun, and I wish they would have kind of continued this kind of style for this game, and that is Star Fox Adventures. Now, this is literally Zelda meets Star Fox. You're on the ground, you're fighting enemies, you're going on a journey, you're trying to complete a quest, and it is a lot of freaking fun. I love this game. The graphics are absolutely beautiful. It is amazing, and if they ever did a Star Fox movie, I could totally see them going in a direction like this where it's not all just in space, you know, where they actually have some ground action going on. But this one is a lot of freaking fun. Definitely worth checking out. And originally this was going to be on the N64, and it wasn't a Star Fox game. I can't remember what the title of it was, Dino Planet or Dinosaur Planet or something like that, but it was pushed to the GameCube and turned into a Star Fox game. So if you like Star Fox and you like Zelda, pick this one up. It's like a $40 game. All right, guys, now there are 5 total physical Zelda games on the GameCube. 5, and we're going to rattle them off real quick, and I'm going to tell you what I think. So first up, you've got the Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Adventure. You have the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time with Master Quest. You have the Legend of Zelda, the Collector's Edition. This comes with Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and a Wind Waker demo. Then you have the worst Zelda game ever made, Wind Waker, and then one of my all-time favorites, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Now, these games are all pretty pricey, you guys. I'm just being completely honest with you. They're kind of expensive. Twilight Princess complete is like $130 to $150 right now. It's absolutely insane how much this game has gone up in value. Then you have Wind Waker, where Wind Waker is like a $70 to $90 game complete. And then you've got the collector's edition that has all the Zelda games on it, or a bunch of them. And this game's like 60 to 75 bucks. And then you got the Ocarina of Time and Master Quest, same deal, 60 to 75 bucks. And then for some reason, this game's going for like over $100 right now, the Four Swords Adventure. Now, this game is cool because you could literally use a link cable from your Game Boy Advance and plug it in and play with up to 3 more of your friends. Who the hell ever did that? I don't know. You being able to do that in today's age would be expensive and a pain in the ass. But hey, it's there if you really wanted to do it. This game's cool. I mean, I love the Zelda games. The Zelda franchise is my favorite Nintendo franchise of all time. But, you know, there are other ways to play these games. Hopefully, they're going to be putting the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD remasters over on the Switch, because even the Wii U versions of those games have gotten expensive, especially since the eShop is recently closed down. But yeah, those are all the Zelda games that are on the GameCube. But yeah, they're pricey, guys. It is what it is. I mean, it's Zelda. Most Zelda games are mid-tier to high dollar. So... but yeah, those are all of them. All right, guys, next up, we have one of the launch titles for the Nintendo GameCube, and that is Luigi's Mansion. Now, when this game was announced as the launch title for the GameCube, a lot of people were like, what the fuck, Nintendo? Where is the Mario game? Well, this was your Mario game, Mario's brother. And a lot of people were like going into it like, I don't know. And I was one of those people, guys, because I didn't get a GameCube when the GameCube came out. I had a PlayStation, I had a Dreamcast, and I had an Xbox. And my parents were like, check it out, motherfucker. You don't need all of them. You're not getting a GameCube. So if you want one, save up your own damn money and get one, because you're spoiled as fuck. And I just didn't get one. I got my GameCube in 2009, 2010. I got it on Craigslist, okay, for $30. Came with the cables, came with the OEM controller, and it came with a stack of games. And mind you, I don't have those games anymore, and I'm kicking myself for that, because one of the games I had was Pokemon Coliseum. Where they went, the world may never know. But this being a launch title, you know, it didn't really interest me either when it was released, but playing it now, this game is fantastic, like really fantastic. It is a lot of freaking fun. It is a great game. It made me want to get, you know, Luigi's Mansion 2, Dark Moon, and Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Switch. This game is just so much fun. It is a great Halloween game. If you're a streamer or content creator, or you just want to play games that are Halloween themed. Great freaking game, great story, super unique, nothing like you'd had ever played before at the time in the Mario universe. So definitely worth picking this one up. It's like a $60 or $70 game, but it's so much freaking fun, you guys. But yeah, Luigi's Mansion, worth picking up, and highly underrated when it was released. It definitely deserved more love. All right, guys, next up, we have the only Final Fantasy game on the Nintendo GameCube. You see? When they went over to, stuck with cartridges on the N64, they fucked up, because they had Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, all on their consoles, one of the biggest franchises in RPG history. And then the GameCube comes, and, you had releases like Final Fantasy X, X-2, and 12 that were on the PlayStation. And all we got was Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Now, this is still a really fun game, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy this game, and this game right here is like 15 to 20 bucks, so it's really affordable, a lot of freaking fun, but man, why didn't the GameCube get Final Fantasy X, X-2, or 12, It's just a real shame that, see, the Nintendo's history kind of was screwing up their future, man, and it's a shame. But definitely worth picking up, especially for the price tag, guys. For 20 bucks or less, you can get this game and have a real good time if you love RPGs. All right, guys, next up, we have another RPG, and that is Baten Kaitos. Baten Kaitos is a card-based, turn-based JRPG that is absolutely beautiful. It is stunning. The combat is definitely an acquired taste. Not everybody is really into, turn-based, but if you are, there's another thing to it. It's card-based, so all of your moves and attacks and things that happen in your fights are based around a deck of cards. And not everybody really likes that. I know that Happy Console Gamer, you know, Johnny Millennium, he wanted to love this game. The card-based combat killed it for him. Now they are releasing this game on the Switch, remastered. I know you can get it over on PlayAsia, and the prequel to this game that was also on the GameCube called Baten Kaitos Origins. So if you want to check them out today and save a little money, because this is like an $80 game, check out the dual game remaster that's coming to the Switch. Definitely worth checking out. It's a beautiful game, and I highly recommend it. I think you guys would really enjoy this one if you like RPGs. All right, next up, guys, we have my favorite RPG on the console, and that is Tales of Symphonia. This game is so damn good, you guys. It is one of my favorite games on the GameCube. It is a blast, and I just absolutely love it. The story is amazing. The characters are engaging. And if you're wondering what that signature is right there, I actually met the main villain of the game at a convention, and he signed this for me. And funny story about that, when I brought this up to him and I put it on the counter, his name is Andre. I'm going to fuck up his last name, Sagliazzo. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your last name, but he's done a lot of voice acting, you guys, a lot. Cartoons and TV shows and video games and just you name it. He has a huge resume. And when I brought this up to him and I put it on the counter and I was like, all right, can you sign this for me? He looks and he goes, oh my goodness, I haven't seen this game in a long time. And he leans over to me real close and he whispers, who did I play again? And I just started laughing. And I was like, you played Forcestus, the bad guy in the game. And he's like, okay, can you look up how to spell that? And it was a really funny experience, and I absolutely loved getting to meet him. It was really cool. But that just goes to show, guys, some voice actors, they just do so much work, and they just don't remember every role that they play. And especially, you know, yeah, the Tales series is a huge RPG series, but like, let's be real, like these aren't like the biggest games out there. It's not like he played in, you know, it was, you know, Kratos in God of War or something, right? So I totally get it. But this game is definitely worth picking up. This is about a $40 game. Really awesome RPG, and the combat is a lot of fun. It's not turn-based, it's live action combat. So if you don't like turn-based, this might be one for you, and it's pretty affordable. It's like mid-range, like $40. All right, you guys, now we're going to talk about one of my favorite franchises of all time, and that is Resident Evil. And for the GameCube, we've got Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil 1, the remake. These are some of my favorite games on the console. They are absolute masterpieces. This game right here, the prequel, 0, is absolutely awesome. A lot of people, you know, don't give it enough love, but I freaking loved this game, and the remake of Resident Evil 1 is just the best way to play this game. Now, granted, this game, these both have been released on multiple consoles at this point, whether it's the PlayStation 4 or you can even get them on the Switch now or the Xbox One. But these games are awesome, and they're going to run you between 20 and 30 bucks a piece. But they're worth every penny. Fantastic survival horror games. I highly recommend these, especially if you're just getting into GameCube collecting and you want to get more affordable games. These are ones you should definitely pick up. All right, next up, guys, we have one of my more expensive games in the collection, and that is this version of Resident Evil 4. And now, granted, Resident Evil 4 is like a $30 game, but this version is the Steelbook GameStop Special Edition, and this thing is freaking awesome. My brother picked this up for me for Christmas, and it just comes with so many cool things in it. It comes with this cool little booklet. It comes with these little lithograph prints right here of Leon. This is number 1700 out of 18,000. And then it had a second lithograph in it. And this right here is another picture of Leon. This is number 6,000 out of 48,000. And then, of course, it comes with the game. So yeah, this one right here, complete like this is gonna run you like 150 bucks. But if you're a big Resident Evil fan, you guys, you gotta have this version. Resident Evil 4 is in my top 5 or 10 games of all time. I just played the remake on the Xbox Series X. It was fantastic, but I still go back and play this game from time to time. I've beaten this game on every console it's ever been released for, including PC. I've beaten it on the GameCube, which for a time it was a GameCube exclusive until, you know, Capcom was like a week later, fuck that, and put it on the PS2. The original way I played it was on the PS2, but I've beaten it on GameCube, PS2. The funnest way to play it, in my opinion, is on the Wii. And I've also played it on PC, I've played it on PS4, I've played the remake, I have the chainsaw controller, I don't know if you can see it, like right there, for the PS2. I'm a huge Resident Evil 4 fan. I also have the premium edition for PlayStation 2 as well. It's the same thing, comes with the lithographs and all that and a steelbook, but it's for the PlayStation 2. Can't recommend this game enough. It's the best Resident Evil game there is. Fight me. It just is. It's fantastic. Definitely should pick this up. If you don't want this crazy expensive steelbook edition, just get the regular game. It's like 25 to 30 bucks. So it's definitely affordable. Really, really awesome game. Can't recommend this game enough to anybody. All right, guys. So now we're going to talk about the most expensive game in my GameCube collection, and it's an RPG, and I've been wanting this one for a long time, and I had like a battle with myself where I was like, there's two versions of this game. Which one do I get? Because I own both consoles. It originally came out for the Sega Dreamcast, and then they did like a better version of it for the Nintendo GameCube. Now, both are expensive. Both are about $170 to $200 each. And I ultimately picked the GameCube version because it was the definitive version. It had better graphics, it had more features added, and so I went with this one, and that is Skies of Arcadia Legends. This game right here is about space pirates, turn-based RPG. It's a lot of fun. I'm still playing through it, but it is a great game. It's very expensive, but if you're a collector for the GameCube, I feel like it's a must-have, but you know, not everybody wants to spend $200 on a single video game when you can just emulate, right? But other than, you know, getting the original version on the Dreamcast or this version, to my knowledge, there's no other way to physically play this game without emulation. I really wish that they would do a remaster for the Switch like they did for Tales of Symphonia, or what they're doing with Batten Kaitos. Maybe one day it would be really cool to get this on the Switch or whatever Nintendo's next console is. But yeah, this game's a lot of fun. Definitely check it out if you're willing to spend the money or just emulate it. Alright guys, another one I have in the collection is actually kind of cool. It's, you know, a very common game, but, you know, you'll see why. And that is Super Mario Sunshine. And the reason why this copy is so cool is because it's signed. It is signed by Jen Taylor, the voice of Princess Peach. She also did the voice of Toad and Toadette, all during the GameCube era. And it is also signed by the legend himself, Charles Martinet, who is the voice of Mario, Luigi, Waluigi, Wario, Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, you name it. He voiced like all the main characters in Mario games. And they both signed this copy for me. I met them both at some local conventions, and it was such an honor to get to meet and speak with both of them. It was so freaking cool. If you'd like to see that, you can actually go and check out some of my convention videos that I filmed where you can see me, you know, getting to meet them and getting stuff signed by them and talk about it in those videos. But yeah, definitely a really cool piece in my collection. Very unique to have it signed by Peach and Mario. But yeah, this game is a lot of fun. It gets a lot of shit, you know, compared to other 3D Mario games, but it's fine, you guys. This game is a lot of fun without the signatures, obviously. You know, this is like a $50 game complete, so definitely check out Mario Sunshine. You can also play this game with the new 3D Mario All-Stars game that came out for the Switch, so that's an option as well if you don't have a game. Alright, you guys, now we were talking about games, but there is one peripheral that I had to recommend today because I feel like if you have a GameCube, you gotta have this thing. It's expensive, but that is the Wavebird controller. This thing is freaking awesome. This is a wireless controller for the Nintendo GameCube, and at the time, it was the best wireless controller on the market. But you do need the little dongle piece that plugs into your console for this thing to work, but it is amazing. Now, granted, it has no vibration or rumble or anything in it, But this thing is dope and it works flawlessly, and in my opinion, it's the only way to go when playing the GameCube. And it even works on the Wii, because yes, the Wii is backwards compatible with GameCube games. Well, at least certain models of the Wii are. And also, guys, if you're gonna own a GameCube, I know that, you know, people from the era are gonna be like, no shit, wrecked. But, you know, yeah, if you're new into collecting this thing, you might have forgotten or you might not know, you need these. You need memory cards. There's no hard drive on this thing like there was for the OG Xbox or later consoles or more modern consoles. You needed these things to save your games, so make sure you pick up memory cards. They're pretty cheap, but don't forget these or you're gonna get partway through a game and be like, fuck, I can't save, and leave that bitch running all night until you get one just like your NES. Alright guys, so first up, we're gonna take it over to one of our friends of the channel, Marcello from GameCube Galaxy. He's an amazing creator, awesome dude, and he is one of what I like to call the GameCube gurus. So take it away, Marcello. What game should we have for the Nintendo GameCube?
Hey everyone, Marcello here from GameCube Galaxy, and my buddy Wrecked Wizard reached out to me asking if I could provide some essentials for you guys to check out on your GameCube. So, I'm going to have two picks, one that's a little bit more costly and one that's far more reasonable. But the reason is because at the end of the day, both of these games are absolute essentials for your GameCube console. So the first one I'm going to mention is SSX3. SSX3 is a snowboarding game that is unlike any other snowboarding game. It is the gold standard in the extreme sports genre and provides an exhilarating experience from start to finish as you free roam a massive mountain that's littered with tracks across 3 peaks. SSX3 is a game that can provide infinite replayability and is so accessible to newcomers to the series, and it becomes something that as you keep playing it, there's a Zen-like experience to be had with its control system and trick system, and it provides just an experience that is second to none in the genre. Now, SSX3 does go for roughly the $20 range, so this is definitely on the lower side, and it's well worth it by all means. If you're curious about the game or want to hear more about it, I actually have a very in-depth review for the game on my channel, so feel free to check that out. The next game I want to bring up is easily my favorite GameCube exclusive that is still exclusive to this day, and that is F-Zero GX. F-Zero GX for me is a game that is just so hard to put down. It's a very challenging racing game, but it's the best rendition of the F-Zero franchise. And the funny thing was, it wasn't even developed by Nintendo, but rather Amusement Vision, the same team behind Super Monkey Ball, that was responsible for bringing this amazing installment to the franchise. Sadly, F-Zero GX was the last we saw of the F-Zero series, but if there's a single F-Zero game you have to play, GX is the quintessential F-Zero experience. This does hover anywhere between $80 to $100 complete in box, but it's one of the few games I will sit here and state is worth every penny, even at that price range. Thank you, Wrecked Wizard, for reaching out to me and asking me to take part in this. Back to you.
Yo, Marcello, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, man, to do that. That was freaking awesome. Both of those games look absolutely amazing, and they have been on my radar for a while. SSX 3 is definitely a game that I've been looking at. It's definitely more on the affordable side, like you said, at, you know, around the $20 price point. And I always loved SSX Tricky, so definitely one I'm going to check out, and I think everybody else should as well. And F-Zero GX is one that I've wanted for a while, but again, like you said, it's more on the pricier side. I've seen them, you know, about $90 to $100, but it is one of the greatest racing games ever made. So, you know, dude, great recommendations. Thank you so much for that, and definitely appreciate it, brother. All right, guys, next up, we have another friend of the channel, our buddy Matt, also known as Retro Wolf 88. The other GameCube guru. He is just such a nice guy, great creator, so humble, so genuine, and I value his opinion just as much as Marcello's. Anytime I have a GameCube question, I go to these guys, and I trust everything they have to say. And you know, definitely listen to what this man has to say. Take it away, Matt.
What's up, everybody? Matt, aka Retro Wolf 88 here, and Wrecked Wizard has invited me to this collab to tell him and you guys watching what is a must-have GameCube game that Wrecked Wizard needs and you all need in your collection. And that answer is very simple. It is one of my favorite games of all time, one of my favorite GameCube games of all time, and that is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door is a fantastic RPG game in the Paper Mario series, and that's coming from somebody that doesn't even really like turn-based RPGs that much. I've never been a big JRPG guy or a turn-based RPG guy, but Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door is the exception. It has an exceptional story, super epic story full of awesome characters, really dark story with some dark moments as well, and an epic finale. It has a lot of comedy. The game just oozes comedy, it oozes charm, phenomenal music, fantastic gameplay on both the battle system, the puzzles, the exploration. The whole package just wraps together so freaking nicely. And let's not forget the visuals and the paper aesthetic. This is a visual style that is very vibrant, very colorful, just pops off the screen, and it aged very well and still looks great to this day. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is a must-own game for any GameCube collector. It is just phenomenal, and it is a game that I can easily play every couple of years and never get tired of it. So that's what I got. Hope you guys pick this one up, and you too, Wrecked Wizard.
You know, it's funny that, Matt recommended this game because when he filmed it, I didn't own this game in my collection, but then my wife got it for me for my birthday. So yes, I have Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. Dude, it's an awesome RPG. It's freaking fantastic. It's like the spiritual successor to Super Mario RPG over on the Super Nintendo, but I definitely recommend this game. It is freaking fantastic. This one's going to run you like $100 to $120. Again, another expensive GameCube game, but Matt is right. It's fantastic. Definitely worth checking out and picking up. All right, guys, lastly but surely not least, we have another amazing friend of the channel who has one of the greatest game rooms in the history of game rooms. She is one of the greatest collectors I've ever seen, but she's also one of the nicest people that I have met in the retro community. She is such a kind person, and I was honored that she agreed to do this collab with me. Take it away, Brandy, also known as Gamer Aimer. What's your recommendation for the Nintendo GameCube?
Hey guys, it's Gamer Aimer here. So today I was asked to tell you guys what some essential Nintendo GameCube games are. So I decided to pick two games as they are the most essential video games and some of the ones that I still have the most fun playing. So first up, we actually have this GameCube game. We have Custom Robo. This is perfect, especially if you love those like robot style fighting combat games. So this one, you pretty much get to customize your robot, and you just have so many different options. There are over like 50 different guns, 30 different bombs, different pods, different legs, and there's just really endless possibilities when you're going up against other robots, and especially if you're playing against some of your friends. I just remember playing this awesome game, really customizing everything as you go through and kind of fighting in this entire arena. Now you get to use these different little things to take cover, kind of use it as your own little like playground essentially. And this really has so much potential. And I'm just shocked that we have not gotten anything since this, but this has so much possibility to it, and really the possibilities are endless. So this is probably one of the most essential Nintendo GameCube games, especially if you love robots. And then next up, I would have to say that this game right here is not for the faint of heart. This is a very challenging game called Chaos Field for the Nintendo GameCube. This is perfect for all of those shoot 'em up or those shmup fans. So right here, you pretty much have this ship and you have different abilities with it. So you just get to go around and shoot and try and destroy all of these different bosses, and it really feels like you're going up against some of the most challenging bosses, and there are just like bullets everywhere. So you have to try and like defeat these different bosses, keep moving through. The soundtrack is amazing. I just absolutely love the music in this game, and everything is just so bright and colorful, and I absolutely love it. The visuals are just stunning, and this game really holds up today, especially making it challenging and going in between the two different like fields that you can go through. It just really makes it an interesting game. So much crazy, chaotic stuff going on, and it's just a blast. So those would have to be two games that I recommend And once again, thank you for including me in on this video and talking about some of these essential Nintendo GameCube games.
Thank you so much, Brandy, for that recommendation. I really appreciate it. I know that the people watching this definitely value your opinion as much as I do. It is just awesome that you took time out of your day to do this for us, and thank you so much. Guys, definitely go check out Gamer Aimer's recommendation, because I know I am. These are all games that I'm going to be checking out from all three of our friends. So, well, I already have, Paper Mario, but I still have to play it. So I started it, haven't finished it. Well, guys, that was my collection. Those are all of the GameCube games that I have. And, basically, I'm going to be honest with you. Here's the part of the video that it gets kind of tough. I'm going to tell you whether I think you should collect for this system or not in 2023. And if I'm being honest, man, like, I love the GameCube. Like I said, this is my original console that I got from Craigslist in 2009, and it still runs great to this day. I take it apart and clean it every so often just to keep it going. I got a lot of sentimental attachment to this thing. I've had it for many years now. Granted, I didn't get it on launch, but again, I've had it for a while. And another feature that's cool about this console is it's one of the earlier models that still had like the digital out port in the back, right? So right here, basically later models, they got rid of that, to cut costs. But yeah, you could use the really expensive Nintendo GameCube component cables that are absolutely impossible to find. And when you do find them, they're going to cost you $300. But definitely really, really awesome console. Should you collect for it in 2023? I know this is kind of a cop-out answer, but it really all just depends on you, right? Are there other ways to play some of these games? Yes. Is emulation always an option? Yes. Are you wanting to be a purist and play on original hardware with original games, with original controllers on a CRT TV? Well, then if that's you, then yes, collect for the GameCube. But just know what you're getting into before you do that, because these games are very, very expensive. Like, just the ones I listed in my collection are valued at about $2,400, $2,300, and I only have like 37 games, right? It's not like some massive collection. And the games that I'm going for are the really heavy-hitting must-have games for the console. And I'm not done collecting for this thing yet, but I'm kind of just spacing out my purchases because of how expensive the games are, right? So I'm not really into getting the, super like common, filler titles that are $10 or $15. I have a couple that I've gotten in certain circumstances, but my, goal was to always get the Marios and to get the, Zeldas and the Metroids and stuff like that. And, that was always my goal. Now, there are some really, really, really expensive games on the GameCube that are just seem almost impossible or out of reach. Games like Cubivore, or games like, the Pokemon box, Go-Go Hyper Grind. You have Fire Emblem. These are games that are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Or Pokemon box is not even a game, and it's like $2,000 or $3,000 complete, which is absolutely insane to me. So, it really just depends on you. How much do you want to spend? Could you get this console and modify it and use an SD card if you really want to use original hardware? Do you want the physical games? Do you even need this console? Because you could technically play, your GameCube games on a Nintendo Wii. There's so many variables that go along with this, but it's really up to you guys. It just depends on what you want as a collector, as a gamer. But again, just know that this is a very expensive console to collect for, like the Dreamcast, and just like the Saturn, and just like the Sega CD, and consoles like that are more obscure, that didn't sell as much, that weren't as popular. I feel like the Wii U is kind of going down that path, and it will go down that path eventually. The GameCube only sold about 22 or 23 million units. And compared to the PlayStation 2, that sold over 158 million units, and you had the Xbox that even sold more than the GameCube. It's very obscure, but a lot of people from that generation are very nostalgic for it nowadays, and it's very sought after. So just know what you're getting into. Finding these games in the wild is damn hard, at least where I live in California. So expect to pay eBay prices or go to Mercari, you know, or people on Facebook Marketplace know what they have nowadays with the power of the internet, as you know, Boogie would say. And so, guys, it's really up to you. How much money do you want to spend? Should you go broke collecting for this console? No, don't do that. You know, if you got the money to throw around and you don't give a shit, collect for it, because it's a really fun, amazing, you know, underappreciated console that, you know, again, people forget this thing was more powerful than the PlayStation 2. It just lacked the features, had poor marketing, and it, you know, literally got, you know, pushed where the PlayStation had a like over a year jump start on this thing. So there was a bunch of factors that went into why it failed, but I highly recommend it. And guys, there are so many different console variants to this thing. You know, you can get the Japanese, you know, versions like the spiced orange version, or the green Tales of Symphonia version. And one of my personal favorites, and I know Matt, RetroWolf88, had this version. I don't know if he still has it, but the Resident Evil 4 European PAL version of this console was freaking awesome. It was literally a silver GameCube with, you know, the plate right here in the middle said Resident Evil 4. It was really cool, and the box is awesome. But here in America, you know, we got things like, you know, we got the indigo purple, we got the platinum silver console, and we got black. And as far as like any special edition consoles here in the States, I don't know if we really got any. I don't think that we did, but I could be wrong. Leave that down in the comments. Again, guys, I go to all, you know, I go to Marcello and Matt for all of my GameCube questions, because I'm still learning about this thing, but I absolutely love it. And I highly recommend the GameCube to you if you got the money to spend. But if you don't, emulate the fuck out of those games, guys. And I just want to say thank you to Marcello, to Brandy, and to Matt for collabing with me on this video. You guys are huge inspirations for me. I look up to all of you, and I appreciate your friendship. And thank you so much for doing this video with me, guys. I will leave all of their videos, you know, all of their channels in the video description down below, so please go check them out if you like retro video games. If you want to see some of the coolest things you've ever seen in video games, go check them out. I cannot recommend the three of them enough. But guys, this was a long one, but it's been a long time coming. It's a video I've been wanting to do for a while. So until next time, guys, happy hunting.